Welcome everyone to another episode of Disney with the Ducks. Today what we're going to do is we're going to have a follow-up to our villains show that we released a few weeks ago, where we were discussing our favorite villains. Now we're going to do what we think are our best hero, our favorite hero, and our most meh. You could take them or leave them. In my case, I think I'm going to find some fairly useless ones that may even be beyond useless. So I'm excited to share that. But first, before we get into the episode, let's talk a little bit just about what's going on in all of our lives, because we've got Jody, Mean Gene, Jeff and Carly, and Kevin all on this evening for the recording. So let's talk about some good things going on in your life. So what about you, Jody?
Is there anything good, Jody?
It's got to be something. I hear it's your house is a sauna, right?
Yes.
A lot of people pay a lot of money for that.
Yeah. So you could, in the cartoons when they run over the hot coals, and they go, ow, 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 ow. That's what you can actually do in my house right now on the floor and both our carpet and our wood floor because it's so hot. So our air conditioning went out. A family of mice decided that our air conditioning unit would be a nice home, and they ate through the wires and ruined our air conditioner. So, which is fabulous because it's an excessive heat wave right now. So, but it's good family bonding. We all slept in the same room last night, so that's fun. It's fun.
You making lemonade or lemons out of?
Sure, but I did get to really clean my couch. I thoroughly cleaned everything because of the mice. So yeah. So I have a super clean house right now.
Super, and you're sterilizing it with all the heat.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, no bacteria.
Nothing's gonna live. Yeah.
And I really think you're downplaying the heat because if your area is like ours right now, the real feel today was 109 degrees. And I'm not talking like we don't live in the South. We're in Ohio, for crying out loud.
Yeah, when y'all told me that, I can't even believe that because I'm in Louisiana. We're at like 96 today.
Yeah.
We're 96, 98.
Same in Tennessee.
Well, and I was talking to a friend in Orlando today, and it was actually a degree warmer in Detroit than it was in Orlando. I mean, it was 96 here. I was sweating picking the kids up from school, just standing in line. It's crazy. So, Jody, I feel for you.
Thanks. But it will all come to an end.
It will soon.
One way or another.
One way or another.
Might be a fiery ending. But...
Oh, boy. All right. Gene, what about you? What's going on? What's good in life?
And exciting last couple of weeks. I missed some podcasting with you guys because I got a chance to go to camp and spend some time with a bunch of high school kids. It was great. That was cool. And then now I'm home. My family's left me. They've gone to Arkansas to go spend some time with other family. And I've got at some point I've got to work, I guess. But I had a little spill last night. I was cleaning the pool, trying to be good around here. And I stepped off into the pool. And at one point I had a leg up on the deck and, the cement deck and one in the pool. And just for a moment and felt, heard something in my back, just popping, like you pop your back. But I'm too old for that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And so I'm a little stoved up today. But you know what? I'm going to power through and we're going to podcast so hard today.
That's what I wake up every morning saying.
We really wish you had the video camera set up in the back because we would love to have seen this.
So do I. I could enter it into something. Funny as something.
All right. Well, Gene, you survived the spill, so I guess that's something good, right? You woke up
no doubt.
all another day.
It's brought entertainment to my wife when I told her about it. People have laughed when I've told them, hey, that's what it's all about.
Oh, man. Jeff, how about you? What's good in your life?
Well, first, I'd just like to say thanks to Gene and John for getting released from their suspension from the last couple of weeks. So that's good to have you guys back here. For this, when this show comes out, we are getting ready to head to Florida. So we leave July 1st. We decided we're dropping straight through for 14 hours to Orlando. So we'll pick up an extra night on the property, and we're going to be down there through beginning of July before we head to the beach. So that's exciting for us. We're getting ready for our trip. You got anything to add special?
Well, I mean, this will have aired way after, but I did my first foray into cake decorating today.
So many cupcakes.
In the past 2 days, I've made 32 cupcakes and a 3-tier birthday cake. all with homemade buttercream frosting, which I've never made before, and now I have made 6 batches of. So I'm pretty sure I am spreading some major sugar rushes to Riley's friends tomorrow. It's her birthday, so she will be 15 tomorrow, and so we're all excited about that.
I wasn't wondering.
For
I wasn't
15
wondering, but Kevin was wondering what day we should receive our packages
Your packages
of cupcakes.
Oh, right.
There-
I mean,
There's plenty. There's 3 of us in the house. We have a 3-tiered cake and like 4 dozen cupcakes.
and 4 girls coming over. Yeah. Yeah. We've got lots. So come on over. And I have more buttercream frosting in the fridge, and it only lasts for 2 weeks. So I need to go and that's the problem. Like I keep making cake and then I don't have enough frosting, and then I make more frosting and then I don't have enough cake. And so it's a back and forth.
Yeah.
Part of the issue with that is she's using my grandmother's recipe for frosting, and my grandmother used to make food to feed armies at a time.
Well, she had more kids than Crawl.
What?
Wow.
Right?
Possible?
She did.
There were
There's
7 of them.
Wow.
So, right?
So the proportions of scale whenever there's recipes for
It's
this,
feeding an army.
it's a little more than most families now.
Right. So Kevin, how about you? What's going on? Good.
So we've had several camps going on, taking the kids around. They're learning lots about nature and how to stay hydrated in the heat. We've had the heat not like y'all have had up in the north, but it's been pretty hot. You know, being out in the sun working most of the week and having some late nights working, but pushing through and staying busy. And speaking of cooking, we finally got an air fryer. Everybody keeps telling me that those are like the best things ever.
Yep. They're amazing.
So haven't hooked it up yet or haven't plugged it in and tried it yet. Just got it at Costco. So that's what happens when you go to Costco. You go in wanting one thing and come back with a truckload of stuff. So that you didn't know you needed.
Yep.
Brussels sprouts, corn on the cob,
Sweet
Yeah.
potatoes.
zucchini.
Sweet potato
Toast.
fries.
You can even make toast in it.
I had wings. I had air fryer wings tonight.
We did wings too in ours. They turn out really good because they're nice and crispy on the outside.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
and it's a lot healthier than
And I got a TikTok green sauce recipe. It's jalapenos. It's a jalapeno cilantro sort of sauce that I do wings. That I dip wings in. It's bomb for sure.
Nice.
Why are you doing toast in an air fryer instead of just a toaster?
So it's a combination toaster of an air fryer, and it gets one more appliance off my counter.
Oh,
I think you said that before. That's good call
Yeah.
right there.
He's
Yeah.
clean and tidy.
I'm excited to fire that up.
Yeah, it's Kevin, you're gonna love it. It's delicious. It's quick. Oh, it's so good.
Kevin, what's the first thing you're going to cook in it? That's what I
Yeah.
want to know. Like, what's on your radar? Like, what'd you get it for?
Probably fish or chicken strips and fries.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that they're awesome like that. But
Cheese sticks are great too.
Yes,
you can do wings. You can do like raw wings in it, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that what you're
that's
saying?
what I did. Mm-hmm.
That's what we've done too.
Nice.
Straight up raw wings, but they weren't raw when they was finished.
So that's good.
Nice medium rare.
That would be salmonella. And that's
Not the sauce I'm looking for.
No,
Exactly.
no. All right, sounds good. And then, God, for me and our family, I think it's been nothing but good the last week or so. Me and my kids went to see Lightyear tonight. We
Oh
loved
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed it. It was a really good movie. I thought it was entertaining enough to keep my attention the whole time, and it kept the attention of three of my 5 children that I brought with me. So, I mean, you can't ask for much more than that in a movie.
You only
theater.
brought 5 of your children with you?
No, I only brought 3.
Okay.
I left the oldest one and the youngest one at home,
Okay.
and took the 3 in the middle. So
How old was the youngest?
3. So there was a
Okay.
3, 6, and
Ooh.
9-year-old.
And they liked it. So we're planning on going to see it this week. So
Okay, I think like your boys are around the same age as my
Yeah.
middle older ones, I think, right? But and Caleb's 9 and he loved it, and our 6-year-old loved it. So
nice.
yeah, so it was that, and then kids' last day of school was today. So my daughter had some friends over, and they all went in the pool, and just hung out for the afternoon. So it was good seeing her engage with her friends again, which you missed a lot of that in-person stuff the last few years. And then we got a good report from my wife's doctor at the end of last week. So
Very nice.
right now
That is
everything's
awesome.
Yeah, so everything's going about as good as it can be around here these last 7 or 8 days. It's been really good.
About
so-
darn time.
Yeah, you deserve
Yeah.
it.
No
Yeah,
doubt.
we needed some good news. So now I get to have all 5 of my kids in the house while I work for the next 2.5 months. So
Are we sure that was good news?
no, the good might end here. We'll see. We'll see how this goes for the next several weeks, 12 weeks or whatever.
We'll definitely have funny stories coming from the Crawl household.
Probably so many.
Can you enroll them in summer school?
No. We tried that, and apparently we don't meet the criteria for summer school. So,
Be smart.
yeah. Didn't want to get braggy, but yeah. But I know there are a lot of programs for like kids too, right? That you just want to get them out and in there. But my daughter's doing basketball camp tomorrow. My son's doing a choir camp over the summer. So they got some stuff lined up. So keep them busy, hopefully. But yeah. All right. Well, that's awesome. We got a lot of good stuff going on in everybody's life. Jody, hopefully your air conditioner part comes in soon.
Mhm.
Those supply chain folks really got to get on it.
Those
Crawl.
They're terrible people. All right, but yeah, it's my fault. But the opposite of terrible people is heroes. So good segue into.
That was awesome.
Nice.
Very smooth.
Love that.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
well
you.
done.
Took my hat. But no, so let's get into our discussion on heroes. So first off, let's go around and talk about what we think makes a great hero. What we mentioned it in the villains episode, some of the qualities that we think a hero or a villain needs. What about heroes? Jody, what do you think? What's a hero need?
I think unselfish is the word that I'm going with. They have to put others ahead of themselves, have to think of the better community, the bigger picture. So unselfish is the word I'm going for.
Okay. That's a really good one. What about you, Gene?
Yeah, so at the top I put character, and that goes to like unselfish, being honest, being brave, putting others, not caring so much about what happens to them, more so than the people that they're, being a hero to.
That's a great one too. What about you, Jeff?
This has been a topic of debate pretty heavily in our house for the last few hours.
Every week there's a debate in your house over
I
know. I got really passionate about this one. It could have been the fact
No,
that
you
I had
didn't.
years and then we discussed it. But yes.
I think in order to have a good hero, you need to have a good villain. So you have to have that polarization between the two. But
He's just carrying over his answers from the villain one.
Right. He's such a copycat. Last week he used all of your answers. This week
Yeah.
he's, just reusing.
Yeah. But no, that's a good one though, Jeff, because
Yeah.
if you don't have a good villain to fight against, there's not much of a story there, right?
And that's why we're talking. There's a lot of Disney
Okay.
movies that don't have a hero.
Oh.
They're just characters. They don't.
Yeah,
Movies don't have a hero. So
Yeah, they do.
they definitely do. And
When we get in this, I need examples for sure.
Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah.
see, this is why he and I completely disagree, because I don't think that you need a villain. Yes, having a villain obviously makes a hero's traits and characteristics stand out more. The juxtaposition of those two. Look at that.
Oh, what a word.
SAT
That's
word.
a long
What a thesaurus you are tonight.
Go ahead.
I just don't think that you have to have a villain. Yes, having a villain obviously makes the characteristics and traits of a hero pop out more, because the juxtaposition, 5-point SAT word, between those two obviously plays well together on screen. But I mean, if we're talking about heroes in general, I don't think you have to have a villain to have a hero. And I gave Jeff the example.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I gave Jeff the example of there's a kitten stuck in the tree and somebody goes out and gets a ladder and gets it down. Who are you going to say is the villain? Gravity?
Yeah,
tree.
or Isaac Newton.
True.
But darn him. But you still have a hero. Whoever got that little kitten down is a hero.
But we're talking in the realm of Disney movies, not just the world in general.
But I mean, I know what you're saying, because like in English, like I remember in English, I don't remember all of it, but there are only a certain number of basic plots. There's like man versus whatever, man versus nature, man versus whatever, right?
I remember.
Yeah.
And so I get what you're saying. maybe you're right, Jeff. Maybe you're right. I don't know.
He's never right.
You cut out there,
No.
Gene. I didn't hear that.
See, Jeff is not the hero because this is
Maybe
all
you're each
selfish.
right from a certain point of view. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I do think what you're saying, Carly, about, not needing a villain, but like, look at firefighters, right? I think everyone would agree that they're heroes. They put their lives on the line, but their villain is like nature, right? I mean, it's fires, it's things like that. There's usually not a person there that's the villain. So I think a lot of these things, if you look hard enough, you'll find some type of villain. But maybe that goes to Jeff's point then even more, because that villain's so weak or just not as in your face type of thing, right? That it doesn't make for a good story.
Well, and sometimes the villain can be just a problem to be solved.
Mm-hmm.
So not necessarily, an entity or whatever that's causing the distress. You've got a problem that has to be overcome. So
See,
Yeah, I
that's
think
different. That's a problem, and I'm on board with that. There always has to be a problem, but I don't know if I would say a villain. I think that might be going too far.
Well, all right. Well, we've got Jeff and Carly's feelings on the matter. Kevin, what about you?
all right, so a lot of them have already been hit. I've got self-sacrificing, like some of y'all said. Humility, honesty, and courage. Obviously, a lightsaber is good to have.
Sure.
It has to be a green
Either red or green or purple or blue or green.
Or yellow, maybe.
And no capes. Never capes. Capes are bad.
No capes, darling. No capes.
All right.
Oh, and a heroic costume. So
A good costume is key. That's a really good one that I'm surprised nobody's mentioned so far. I would say, I think kind of you guys have touched on almost everything, right? But I'd say like courageous and brave were the first two things that popped in my mind. Like they're going to go out there, they're not going to be afraid of things, and they're going to take on that villain or that problem head on and not be scared of it. So I think that's an important trait for a hero, because they're really, without that, they're not going to be much of a hero. So
Hey,
all
John.
right. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to add, I wrote this down, is that so we add all these things, we talk about these things, but some of the best stories, the hero doesn't start that way. The hero is not somebody of character. They're not brave. They're not honest. They're not heroic, but they have a redemption arc, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's part of some of the best hero stories is that either that character growth, that character development, or that redemption arc. So
that takes me like to Darth Vader. He was the hero who had that redemption at the end, right? That's kind of where you're going with that one, right, Gene?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why you'd think that that's where I'd go first, but yeah.
He's a good hero.
For sure.
Could be. All right. So, well, Jeff, talking about best heroes, let's get into that part of the discussion, right? We've kind of laid the groundwork for what we think makes a good hero. Now, Kevin, you want to start us off with who your favorite hero is?
Okay, and I'm going to surprise you. It is not going to be Star Wars.
What?
It's not Star Wars. My favorite and best hero for me is Captain America.
Really?
Okay.
It is.
Are we doing our favorite hero or best hero?
I messed that up, didn't I? Because I said best, but then I told Kevin to give us his favorite. So, which one is he for you, Kevin? Both?
He's best. He's my best
Okay,
hero.
we'll go with best then. Still.
Okay.
He embodies like everything that there is to be in a hero. He fights with a defensive weapon. It's not even a weapon. He uses a shield instead of a sword. I mean, he never backs down. He's self-sacrificing. He never gives up on people. His best friend Bucky, gave him a second chance. He helped save the Avengers. He basically single-handedly stopped the world from being destroyed. He's one of the only ones ever worthy of holding the hammer of Thor. He just embodies hero in my mind.
And he can do this all day.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's a good point about him picking up the hammer of Thor, because only if you're worthy, right? And he just picked it up, and that was one of the coolest moments, I think, of that whole movie, maybe even in the MCU. When he picks up the hammer, it's just awesome.
Well, and at the end, he basically went back and returned every single Infinity Stone on his own, and was when he came back, he was willing to lay down the shield literally and give it to the next person, and was willing to give that up and move on. So, a good hero knows when they're the people that they bring up and train and make stronger, knows when to step aside and let somebody else take the lead. So,
yeah, awesome, great pick, and the reasoning behind it too was just great.
And I love that you mentioned about the shield, because I guess I never thought about, yes, most heroes carry weapons of some sort, but his isn't really a weapon. Like, yes, he can, slice people with it, I guess. Does he do that? Does he ever
throws
people?
He throws it to kind of get him out of the way, but not really. He's more for defense than offense.
Maybe in some multiverse there's some issues.
He's like a bagel slicer.
Yeah. I'm just imagining like if he Darth Maul somebody with it, but
yeah,
I don't. I guess I don't know. He's not my.
He was smashing the heck out of Tony Stark. That's for sure.
He really was.
Well, that's true. He does.
But I probably would have done that to Tony Stark too, because he's just.
I love Tony Stark.
I do too. I'm just saying in that moment.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well, Carly, who do you think is the best hero?
All right. So Jeff's gonna be bad because he and I have the same one, even though we didn't even discuss it. But I chose Mulan because I was trying to think of somebody that was very selfless. And, as a family, we had a discussion about like Hercules, because that's one of our favorite Disney movies. And we decided Hercules was kind of not a good hero because he's very selfish. Everything that he does is with the idea of getting to become a god again, yada, yada. But Mulan, everything that she does is because of her father. She puts herself at risk. She puts maybe the honor of her family a little bit at risk because of her love for her dad. So that speaks to me on such an emotional level. I'm not a huge fan of that movie. Like, I like that movie, but as we started going through all of the characteristics that make a true hero, she was the one that when we said selfless, she instantly popped into my head.
Go ahead, John.
Oh, I was gonna say she was one of the two that I'm torn between picking for mine too, for the best hero, because and like I said a minute ago, my thoughts on what a hero are, they have to be courageous and brave. I don't think there's hardly anybody that was as courageous as her, going out into battle with men who are physically bigger than her, but she worked hard and busted her butt and was able to become one of the greatest warriors China has seen, at least in the movie.
In the movie
version.
Yeah. But yeah, so Carly, I think that's an awesome one.
And she didn't have any superpowers. She didn't have any special gifts or talents or anything like that. She just went and did something she was supposed to do to.
Yeah, she had to work at it.
Yep. So, yep, we're kind of on the same page for that as the best hero of the movies.
And so, Jean, it sounds like you were going to go that direction as well, huh?
She's just one of mine. She's not my top, but I'm just brainstorming, just throwing stuff, seeing what stuck. And Mulan was one of them for sure.
All 4 Disney movies that you watch.
Carly.
Some of the behind the scenes stuff on this, we had to push recording this episode 3 days so Jean could binge about 6 more movies to find another hero.
I've seen a lot of Disney. Many Disney movies. They just aren't recently necessarily.
Oh, so now I'm even more curious. Yeah.
Yeah, what you got?
The suspense is killing us.
What y'all are waiting on me, are you?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize you were asking me a question. I thought you were saying it was one of your.
No, yeah.
You want to know whom? I thought we were going with Jeff next. I'm sorry.
Jeff went.
Okay, I guess briefly. Okay, so I'll tell you that I try not to pick Star Wars characters because I feel like I'm always going to get trumped by Kevin because I thought I was a Star Wars expert compared to most normal people I am. But then there's Kevin. And Kevin says, "Oh, that was the Arc of Mortis, on the season 4.3 of the Clone Wars or whatever." And I don't have that kind of knowledge. I forget lots of stuff. But what I don't forget is that Obi-Wan is by far the very best hero, and I'll tell you why. He's not perfect. Like Mulan, one of the reasons she was on my list is she doesn't really have a lot of character flaws, right? Like she's pretty perfect. What I like about Obi-Wan is that in the prequels, you see that he's not perfect. All you saw in the original series was the old wizard that was, did everything right. And then you saw him as a young Padawan, then you saw him, grow as a mentor, and then, as a knight in the end. And then in this new series, you see some things, and he's been my favorite character since the prequels. I think he's brave. I think similar to Captain America, even though he uses an offensive weapon, he has more of a defensive fighting style. And that's why many think he's one of the best duelists there is. He has a love for Anakin that he didn't want to kill him. He thought he died, but he didn't, because he couldn't just put him out of his misery because it was his brother. In the Force way. But that's it. Kevin, I'm curious your thoughts on Obi-Wan as a hero, because
Obi-Wan is way up on my list on all of the levels. I mean, he's probably my favorite of all, but I agree with everything he said. I mean, he sacrifices himself. The rest of his life. I mean, his whole life has been sacrificed for the Jedi. He was taken from his family. He never knew his family at all. His family were the Jedi. He watched them all be destroyed. He came back and watched over just one person their whole life. And, even though they didn't want, his caretaker doesn't even want him there, and he's still there watching and trying to help him and be there for him. So. And
then he sacrificed himself. I know he became one with the Force and became more powerful, but really, I think a lot of that had to do with he sacrificed himself so that the rest of the crew could get away and get off the Death Star.
That's right.
Even though they let him go and they had a tracker on it, but that's beside it.
He didn't know that.
Okay.
No, I love that choice. I think that's a great choice.
That is a good one.
It's all about your approval, Kevin. Thank you.
Is that what you were going to pick too, Jody?
Her Star Wars wisdom.
Yes. Mine are a little lighter. So I was really stuck between Mike and Sully, because I felt like they really sacrificed so much to bring the laughter instead of the fear. And he had to go back into the human world and the door and boo and all that. So that was kind of top on my list, but I let someone else sneak to the top, which was really surprising. Bing Bong from Inside Out. And I'll tell you why.
Oh.
Bing Bong is a complete character from Riley's imagination. And in that scene where Bing Bong sacrifices himself to get Joy over and up into out of the whatever realm they're in, to completely sacrifice yourself for the good of the community and the good of that to me, that was the answer. So it kind of surprised me. That was the one that the other day I texted you guys like, it hit me. I finally figured it out. It's not where I thought it was going to go at all. It was not obvious, but I'm stuck between Mike and Sully, but I'm going with Bing Bong.
I don't know that I would have ever. Okay, so I've only seen that movie twice. And I don't know before you said it if I would have been like, oh yeah, hero. But now that you say it, I'm like, oh, I remember he's sitting on the edge and they're crying. And then like, I remember tearing up, and yes. That's
and what's really interesting, Jeff, is that I guess Mike and Sully do have villains against them, but Bing Bong doesn't have a villain. I mean, there's not a villain there, but I still think of the more like the firefighter, getting the kitten out of the tree, that type of hero. So sorry, gets my vote.
It's okay to be wrong.
All right. Okay. I have to watch Inside Out again. I saw it once in the movie theaters and haven't seen it since. So
it's better a second time.
Okay, I need to watch it again. So for my best villain, Carly and Jeff, Yeah, you guys were the ones that picked Mulan. You guys stole my Mulan. So since we've already talked about Mulan, I might as well say my really close second one was going to be Aladdin. He didn't have anything, right? He grew up in the streets, and even when he like stole the bread, right? He goes through the streets, gets chased by everybody, and sees those two little kids and gives them all of his food, right? Just to take care of them. And then even, he goes through a little bit of a spell where I think the prince thing goes to his head a little, right? And I think any of us would, coming up poor, and then all of a sudden you have everything you've ever wanted. That's going to mess with your head a little bit, right? So I think, he pulled it back together in the end. He was supporting Jasmine to become, the leader of her their kingdom, their country. So obviously he doesn't seem to have any issues with like women in power, that type of thing. And he fought for not only Jasmine, but for like the people of Agrabah and everything. So I think he was I think he was one of the best heroes, and I really like the music from his movie. So that's
I mean,
I like-
when we think to the villains episode, that was one of the requirements, that they had a good theme song.
Mhm.
So I think you've got it there.
Yeah,
But
he's got several.
John, he wore a cape.
He
He
wore a
did.
cape. He had a
Only
magic
on
carpet.
Yeah, he has, like,
Oh, when the white
the
cape.
prince,
Yeah.
behind him, when he comes. So
But-
does it count then? Because you said no capes.
Something
Obi-Wan
like
sort of
that.
does.
Yeah, he kind of does.
Oh
He
yeah,
grows-
Obi-Wan sort of has a
That's a
cape.
cloak. Cloaks are different.
It's a cloak.
Sort of.
Yeah, because Vader has the cape.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's kind of like a cloak. Yeah.
My
I
favorite
like
one's
it.
not going to fit then.
I like your
All
choice, John. I think that's a really good choice. It's interesting in the movie how the genie changes with him, and where he would normally be, okay, what's your three wishes? And there's always a trick in it, and he kind of,
Mhm.
ends up tricking the guy and turning evil. And in this case, he's more, easygoing and more fun, and he sacrifices in what his last wish to save the genie, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
to free him, from an
Right.
eternity of being trapped. So,
right.
I just think overall he was a good person. He didn't seem to be after like power hungry or anything like that. He really just wanted this lady that he fell in love with, and she obviously loved him back too. So, I think it was just a great story, and I really think he was had the high character and everything. All right, so that's I think everybody's best. So, Gene, why don't you kick us off with your favorite?
Okay. Hey, first, Kevin, whenever you're saying the genie changed, I thought you meant from like Robin Williams to Will Smith, but maybe not.
There's that too. There's that.
So, man, I got a lot of. I love the heroes. The villains are great. They're there. You like them, but like I always, I want to be a good person. I want to, I want to do the right thing. I want to be brave. I'm not always all those things, But so those are the people that I look. I always like the hero. And this is sort of a recent favorite hero, but it really Dark World, not the first one not so much, Dark World not so much, but then Ragnarok. When Ragnarok came around and Thor got funny, when he got a sense of humor, he became more my favorite hero. And he's just one of many. I mean, if you talk about Avengers, I'm going to gravitate to the superheroes in Star Wars every time. But I like Thor because a little bit of that redemption. We see him and he's young, and I say young. He's self-centered and all about becoming who he's going to become. And we see a bit of, and then then he becomes Fat Thor.
Yeah.
And
Makes
that's
it more relatable.
yeah, absolutely, sure. Game of Thor.
Game of Thor.
But there's so many things I like about him. A lot of it's his humor, but obviously he's got some great qualities because he can lift Mjolnir. Did I say that right, Kevin?
I think so.
Close enough.
Close enough, yeah.
Okay.
Silent J.
Silent J.
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
Gene, it's interesting you say Thor. He is also my wife's favorite hero, but I think for different reasons probably than
Probably
you have.
Probably.
Probably not Fat Thor. As your
No,
wife.
she already has that at home.
Giving yourself a lot of credit there.
Hey, it takes a lot of work to get in shape. that's
I,
around.
I think it's a really good one, Gene. And
Yeah, I like that
Marvel
choice.
superheroes are good. And I think while we're on the Marvel superheroes, why don't we just get John's out of the way here?
You really want me to do mine
Let's-
next? Okay. So
open
my
it up,
favorite
John.
hero, honestly, it's hard for me not to pick Marvel for both best and favorite. So I decided in my head I was not going to pick Marvel for both. For my favorite hero, though, obviously it's going to be Thanos. I mean, the man really gave up a lot. He sacrificed his family. He had to give his daughter up. I mean, I think I covered all these reasons when we were talking about why he's my favorite villain. But the man gave up everything to try to save the universe and try to fight off the evil Avengers from, slowly killing the universe, where Thanos was trying to at least save half of it and make sure we had long term our species survived. So so there's that. But I really think though, um, Spider-Man's probably my favorite, to be honest. As much as I do love Thanos, I think my favorite superhero is probably Spider-Man. I mean, I've loved him since I was a little kid, and I mean, even you look at the non-MCU movies, it's awesome with Into the Spider-Verse, right? And then coming into with all the Marvel stuff, his movies are some of my favorites. I love Homecoming. I love Far From Home, and I love No Way Home. So, with all those, he's such a smart kid. He's got the intelligence. He seems like he's super nice. He's always trying to help people. He didn't want anybody to know who he was for multiple reasons, but one of them because he didn't need the credit for it, right? He just was doing it for the good of New York City. So I'm going to go with Spider-Man for my favorite.
Yeah. Tom Holland's pretty charming too.
So I think that's really one of the big things with it is he's such a good actor, and with like Zendaya, the chemistry they have on screen is just awesome. I mean, it really does add a ton to the character when you have such an awesome actor.
My wife one night just went through and just pulled up videos of him in interviews, and he's hilarious. Like so many spoilers. Like just I know I don't know how many times he actually did it, but like had to catch him. The guy can't keep his mouth shut. He's hilarious. He's really good at it. If you ever get a chance, if you haven't done that, just watch the chat show interviews. They're pretty funny.
Yeah.
So is Tom Holland your favorite Spider-Man then?
Tom Holland's my favorite Spider-Man, yeah. Yeah, I absolutely love him as Spider-Man because he gives that look like he's like a kind of a nerdy kid and whatever. And just the way his acting really makes you believe that he is that teenager, and then he doesn't flinch when he turns into Spider-Man. He's still got all that stuff in his head, but now he's got the body to kind of match. And I don't know, it's just everything about him I think is really great. Yeah. So what about you, Jody?
Yeah, I'm not nearly as realistic as the rest of you, I guess is the word I'll use. I like the cartoons. You can take all your real life Marvel stuff.
Because it's real life.
It is real life.
Yeah.
It's real life. I like the cartoons way more. So what I picked for my favorite is not because I necessarily think that the quality of this hero is overall the best, but it's just because I've loved this hero since I was a little girl. So I had to go with Prince Philip from Sleeping Beauty. He fought Maleficent. Hello, that's really scary for a girl that he met in the woods. Not that she needed saving, but whatever. He went and saved her anyway. But he was my favorite from when I was a kid, and when I think of hero, battling the thorns of Maleficent, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. And as much as I don't know that he's got all the wonderful characteristics, but he is maybe unselfish and thinking of others, but he's my guy. Always has been.
I like it.
How about in the new spinoff of Maleficent? Because he's in there also. Do you like him in there?
No. I'm talking about the old cartoon version,
the classic one, right?
One. That I like the new Maleficent movies, but I don't like his character in them.
Right? I feel like the new movies are fantastic, but they're not that this is a bad thing, but they're very girl power, and so it makes Prince Philip and the other gentlemen seem a little not so fantastic.
You're starting to steal some of my thunder, though, for the next
I'm sorry.
question. But no, Jody, I think when he was fighting Maleficent, like he has the shield up, and you're right. It's like iconic, and that's what you think of with her breathing the fire down and him holding the shield up and his sword. Yeah. So I can see why.
It's not that because he's got all these wonderful, accolades and characteristic things together. I mean, he's not Bing Bong, but it's what I remember from when I was a kid. So that's what I'm going with.
All right.
I may or may not have known which Prince Philip you were talking about.
Old English fella?
The guy from The Crown? Yeah. Whatever. I didn't know The Crown was Disney, but whatever.
All right. Well, Jody, that was a good pick. So next, let's have Jeff give his.
My favorite villain. Anytime we've talked movies so far, hero.
Oh.
I've been doing this the whole time.
It's that Ohio State shirt. You just have evil on your mind.
Right.
So anytime we've talked movies in the past, I'm a big fan of all the Dark Age movies. So my favorite hero is going to come out of the Dark Ages as well, and it is going to be Robin Hood. He has
good call.
That's a good one.
He has a good villain that he goes up against.
Mm-hmm.
He has the selfless characteristics of robbing from the rich and give back to the poor. He's got a good storyline. He's got a good sidekick, which that wasn't one of the things that we had mentioned before, but I think a hero kind of needs a sidekick. So that's might be a future episode whenever we talk about sidekicks and henchmen. But
is that why Carly has you?
Right.
Yeah.
She's my sidekick.
No.
I am the hero, or is she my henchman to my villainy?
I am never henching.
You're like an Igor.
I do not hench for anyone.
I thought Jeff was the sidekick. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, I think we all know Jeff's the sidekick.
It's my guy.
Sorry.
But
I absolutely agree with your choice, Jeff, because that was one
that's a great one.
I really thought about that one for one of mine also. But for all the reasons why you said, giving back, and he's got the whole. I mean, it's in his name and what he does, and giving back and fighting for the underdog, and the poor, and everything. So good choice. And he's a cartoon, so of course I like it.
All right, Carly, what about you?
Oh, okay. So as we're talking, I came with one, and then everybody's talking, and I started oh, how about Ahsoka? Because I love Ahsoka, the animated version, not the live action. And then Yoda. Isn't Yoda just an amazing hero? And then I come back to the one that I came with. It is I feel like a traitor because it's not somebody so well known, and it is a newer one. And I know Jeff always says I have recency bias, but I went with Kristoff from Frozen and Frozen 2. And this is one that I don't think that there is a villain necessarily that he fights against, because he doesn't. If anybody's fighting against a villain there, it's Anna and Elsa. He is pretty much in the background, really. And Jeff was like, well, then I think he's just a sidekick. But he's not. He definitely has tasks that he takes on his own. He's selfless. And dang it, he's just funny. He's very quirky. And I don't know. I like people who are quirky.
Obviously.
Right? But he also has there is, when we talked about villains, we said they have to have theme songs. And if you've watched Frozen 2,
spoilers.
It's been out forever now. If you haven't watched Frozen 2, turn this episode off. You're not a Disney fan anyway.
Have a good night.
But he's got that 80s rock song love ballad going on, and it is just fantastic. It's so heartfelt and so quirky and funny, and it's just adorable. And so, I mean, he may not be the most iconic hero. He may not be the strongest, the most wisdom-inducing hero, but I think he's more of a modern age, kind of normal, everyday guy hero, and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Good call.
I think
Fun
it's a
fact. Fun fact: the guy that does his voice is the same guy from Mindhunter that played the guy that plays Holden Ford is the character's name. But
Yeah.
it's the guy that does his voice. How do I know that? I was just watching Mindhunter and looking at the actors, and I saw that he did the voice. That's just kind of cool.
Cool.
Isn't he the same guy from Hamilton that plays the king?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my
okay.
gosh, and spits a whole lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those close-ups are gross, but I love
I,
it.
I have to turn my head, but he swears it is because King George is actually known for being very
Salivatory?
Salivatory.
he
Suffering succotash.
salivates a lot. I don't even know how you say that.
Salivatory.
Spit.
That's not it. That's not a word. King George spit a lot. That's pretty much
There
what
you
I'm
go.
going with. He was gross.
He probably was, yeah. Well, especially back then, they didn't have hygiene products and stuff that we have now, so he probably was really gross.
Are there
Well,
a
a lot
lot
of
of hygiene
spittoons.
products that you use for salivating?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying in general.
Oh, okay.
Spittoons.
Yeah. Okay, Kevin, what's your favorite?
All right, so a lot of them have on my list have been named. Obviously, there's a lot of really good ones that have been brought up. Spider-Man was my number one too, but they're my favorite heroes. In addition to all the qualities that a hero has, kind of falls in line with what Carly was saying about being quirky. I think the heroes that I like the most are the ones with the quips, the ones with the quick comebacks, the ones that are, really funny. I mean, I love how Guardians of the Galaxy, I love how it's just constant back and forth quips in the middle of the most stressful situations. I mean, you've got Spider-Man being attacked and he's cutting jokes while he's fighting the Vulture or whoever, so having that quirky attitude. Iron Man is up there on my list, so I think it's really hard for me to pick a favorite, but I think it's more of a quality. Any hero that has that quality of the quick comebacks and the funny, smart aleck, if you want to call it that kind of thing. I love that, and that's why I like Spider-Man so much. So.
Yeah, it is really funny. I mean, and like you said with Guardians, I forgot how much I love Star-Lord.
Oh, it's so funny.
he's
Him and
great.
Rocket and
Yeah.
Groot and
Drax
So
is just like the dry.
Drax.
Yeah.
I like when Thor is all up in the mix. Then the interaction between them is hilarious.
Between Star-Lord
when
and
Star-Lord
Thor,
starts speaking with an English accent.
Yeah.
I'm not speaking like that. Yeah, I love that. Let's talk about the most or the hero you don't see much of a point in. So Jody, what do you got? You want to kick us off with that one?
Yes. So mine is summed up nicely by the scene in Ralph Breaks the Internet, where all the Disney princesses are all in a room and Penelope's there, and she says, "Does everyone assume all your problems were solved because a big, strong man showed up?" That means the answer to your question of the meh heroes are every single prince in all the Disney princess movies, except for Prince Philip. But seriously though, that scene, and if you don't know what I'm talking about from Ralph Breaks, all the princesses are there, and she's like, "Does everyone assume that all your problems were solved because a big, strong man showed up?" That is like, yeah, you're right. That's why all the prince. It's hard to say princes without saying princesses. All the prince, plural.
Princes.
Everyone with the title of prince.
Yeah, all those who are prince, except
the actual prince.
They're my meh.
So that's interesting you say that, because that was mine as well. But I was gonna say I don't think Prince Eric should be included in that, because
and you didn't say Aladdin. He can't be included.
But he's not really a prince.
really
He
a
kind of
prince.
becomes the Sultan's
Prince consort?
husband. maybe, yeah, the prince consort, like what's his face?
Oh,
Philip.
In the
fancy.
England. Yeah.
In
So where was I going with that though? But okay,
Oh,
so Eric, he actually kills Ursula, right? He like battles, gets back in the boat, swings that thing around, and uses the broken mast or whatever that is on the boat to get rid of her. So I think he actually did something, but I think it's a little bit creepy with some of the princes and how they kiss the women who are knocked out.
Dead.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Weird.
Yeah. So maybe it's because of,
Consent anybody?
it could be a generational thing too, right? I mean, I know there's a lot of other things that were okay back then. They made them, and that type of thing. It's changed now, but that to me kind of bugs me, especially as a father of several daughters. So, but I'm gonna narrow it down though, because I'm already talking anyway, so I might as well give mine. I'm gonna say Prince Charming from Cinderella is to me just the most like, I'll say useless, I guess, because all he is like some guy with a title, right? And he's like, oh, I'm going to have all these women come to me and I'm going to choose one. And, that type of thing. And really, he doesn't do anything brave. He goes around and checks people's feet. I mean, maybe that's brave because that could be gross.
So he's just a guy with a fetish.
I mean, I didn't say that.
It was
Those
before
were
OnlyFans.
Carly's words, but I don't disagree with that statement. And that's kind of where I was heading, though, too.
Right? Like, I don't even think of most of those princes as heroes. They're they're not very well developed. So I feel like I don't know enough about them to make them heroes.
Yeah. They're all kind of in the background, right?
Right. They just have titles.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, a lot of Prince hate. But not the musician, though. I think we can all agree that he was amazing.
Yeah, he's great.
Jeff hates him, but
Nothing compares to him.
Exactly, Gene. Jeff, I don't even. There's nothing you can even say to make up for that now.
right.
But you know what you can do, Jeff, is you can tell us who your most meh hero is.
Mine, just he can move it.
Stealing mine. Look at my list.
No, I won't steal yours.
The domestic stuff is the best part about this podcast.
Right. My most meh hero would have to be Lightning McQueen. He doesn't really have the characteristics that really embody a hero to me. Yeah, he did kind of let the guy win at the end of the race where he could have won, but the whole storyline for the race is really kind of secondary to me. It doesn't really seem like it's even necessary to his development. He's just kind of there. That kind of goes back to not every movie has necessarily a hero or a villain to me. It just kind of has like the main character through it, but it doesn't necessarily make them a hero. So that's kind of where, to me, he's just kind of there. And he has a good story. I enjoy his story, but he's not like a hero that they kind of make him out to be.
What about Mater?
You can't go wrong with Mater.
Right.
I mean, he's a good sidekick.
He's the true hero of that. I don't know. I don't know. He's the driving force. He's the one that gets Lightning to do everything. And
Yes.
yeah, it's kind of a genius.
He's like the Yoda of cars.
Exactly.
So Lightning McQueen, though, I've always found the Cars movies really entertaining. But yeah, I've never really thought of him, I guess, as a hero type.
Yeah.
Really? You like cars, John?
Yeah.
He works for DM.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm guessing
I
you
obviously like
I
Cars.
don't like that movie, no.
What?
Is there any Disney stuff you like?
Yeah.
I love lots of Disney stuff.
Just
I
curious.
just don't like that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
So definitely then you don't like 2 and 3 because they're significantly worse quality than.
Yeah, those aren't great.
I was going to say significantly the same, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Same thing.
Okay. All right. Well, Carly, what about you? What's yours?
I'm gonna make people angry with this one, but when don't I make people angry with my choices? Peter Pan. I just think he is a crap. He's crap. I don't know how else to say it.
Peter Pan's mine too.
Right. I
Wow.
don't like the
Yeah.
I don't like the movie. I don't think anything that he does is selfless, courageous, brave, honest. He's just a little twerp, and he does things like Jeff was like, well, he fights against Captain Hook. Well, he's the one that made Captain Hook angry in the first place. He chopped off his hand. I'd
Yeah.
probably be mad too. And then everything after that, like he steals little kids from their bedrooms and their windows. I mean, I don't know about you, but anywhere else in the world, that's looked down upon. So
he even laughed whenever the mermaids tried to drown Wendy.
right,
Yeah.
He is. What show was it where he was actually the really bad guy?
Rescue Rangers.
Once Upon a Time.
No, Rescue Rangers.
Oh,
Oh,
I don't
yeah?
remember Rescue Rangers.
The movie.
Oh
The new
yeah,
movie.
oh yeah. He was like real like old. He had gotten old and
Yeah.
probably our age, but but yeah, that was it. That must have been what I was thinking of. But yeah, and then he is creepy. He doesn't want to grow up. He's very immature.
yes.
So yeah, it's a good choice.
I just zero stars. Do not recommend.
Plus, it can't be comfortable wearing tights like that all the time. Well, that was a good discussion on heroes. I think one thing I noticed was we didn't have a lot of Pixar heroes in the best and favorite categories at all, which I think it kind of goes to what Jeff was saying earlier, though. Like, most of those movies don't have a real obvious villain that they're fighting against, and maybe that hurts them in the hero side.
Or just
Yeah, I've got one from the Pixar side, Mr. Incredible. He was kind of like that, kind of the meh, because he sacrificed. You know, he went behind his entire family's back to go back to doing what he liked to do, and ended up getting everybody almost killed. So that was kind of a selfish act. I think he redeems himself a little bit later, but yeah, that one was kind of on my second list.
When you put it, it's funny because a lot of these I didn't even think of in certain ways, and then listening to everybody talk about them tonight, like Mr. Incredible, now I'm going to look at him and be like, oh, that guy's a terrible father, terrible husband. It's not going to have the same. But then some of the other ones, you see a lot of good qualities that people brought up that you just didn't think about. So yeah, that's a really cool discussion. So any other final thoughts on the villain side of things?
I didn't give my meh.
You didn't, Gene? Well,
I did.
No.
That's okay.
No, I wrote down Jeff's for you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I mean, I'll tell you, nobody's mentioned him or this franchise, but Shrek, Gotcha. I know Shrek's not Disney.
I was waiting for you to say like the T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
No, actually, it's Ariel. I just think that I don't know if she's supposed to be the hero. It's it's fun. It's, I've seen musicals. I've, obviously seen the movie 1,000 times. I make the joke all the time. What are these? Oh yeah, feet. We say that all the time in our house. But I mean, she's willing to give up a whole lot just for a dude that she doesn't even know. It's just weird. It's terrible. It's pretty terrible. She's not a good hero. I put Ariel useless. I don't know if you can see that. Useless.
Yeah.
She sacrificed the kingdom just to get legs. So.
Yeah.
Just to get legs.
Oh, okay.
For who's it's and what's it's and all that,
Exactly.
Those aren't the right words, but you know what she says.
But I feel like that goes along with the princes in the early Disney movies. Like it's just a love story. That's all they are. I don't feel like there's heroes and villains. It's stereotypical girl, stereotypical guy, move on with life.
Ariel needed to get an education so she didn't have to depend on a man. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. But I feel like now we're starting to get maybe some Disney movies where girls are becoming the heroes more. It's very girl power out there today. And I like that. I really do. But at the same time, I really, really love my early Disney fairy tale guy solves all the problems kind of thing. Because I don't know, maybe I'm done, but I would love the guy to solve all the problems.
Well, I'm a traditionalist. I'm not a misogynist at all, but I do like every once. I want my daughter to have. I thought Ray was great for that reason. I mean, I want my daughter to have heroes. People, she doesn't. Not to see a woman being saved by a man all the time. But as a man, I like to be the hero of the ladies in my house. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, but I think, Gene, it's interesting because with the girls, girl power thing, right? Bringing Mulan on in the way they did back in the 90s was so progressive at the time, you know, because even a lot of the other women heroes, like say Ariel, right, or whatever, is in that more stereotypical older role where they're kind of submissive and they're chasing after men and, you know, all this other stuff, where now you have Raya and you've got some of the other ones that have come out lately, right, with what's the magical family, why can't I think of this, I've heard the soundtrack.
Encanto.
Yeah, Encanto, right, yeah, Mirabelle.
Waverly Place.
Yeah, and just
What did she say?
Wizards of Waverly Place.
Selena Gomez could be my hero. You might not be wrong here, Gene.
I don't feel like that is the type of hero we're going for, Jeff.
I was just making jokes.
Probably a different type, yeah. But yeah, no, it is good that they're bringing in a lot of women now too to be like a strong character, right? Because that's been missing for, you know, ever, because men have always ran it. So it's nice to see. Okay, so anybody want to give any more thoughts on heroes before we move on to, I think, our favorite topic? Next on the agenda, quacking up with the ducks. So who wants to make our listeners giggle uncontrollably first?
I can go. I had one that was sent to me today by a listener, Mr. Ben Lappin, said that he had a joke that we can use on the show here. So, why is an ear not 12 inches long? If it was, it would be a foot.
Yeah.
Oh boy. That was pretty good.
So thank you, Ben, for that.
Look,
Thanks,
see,
Ben.
Jeff still doesn't have any of his own material. No, but I also don't have my own material because our friend Angela Bartiromo sent me one, and I've got to share it because she sends me all kinds of funny things now, and I'm like, I just crack up. So she was telling me that she went to the shoe store to try on shoes, and they brought her a size out that she typically wears, and she tried it on, and she's like, nope, doesn't fit. So the salesman told her to try it with the tongue out, and she was like, it still doesn't fit.
That one's so much better on video too.
Right?
Hey, John, I just saw Avengers Endgame yesterday.
Oh yeah?
It's about time.
Hey, wouldn't it be cool if Iron Man and Silver Surfer teamed up in the next movie? Their team name would be the Alloys.
Oh God, that's a nerd joke. I love it.
I was gonna say I love nerd humor.
Okay. So we've been getting out and hanging out with friends and stuff more lately. We were over at the neighbor's house the other night, and as we were talking, I told everyone about the advantages of eating dried grapes. It's about raising awareness.
Nice.
Oh man. Wow.
All right, I think that joke dried up now.
I think we laughed too hard at these corny jokes.
Oh, that's all I do all day. And then I tell them to my daughter, and she tells me how awful they are and what a nerd I am.
That's what makes it worth it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes she'll laugh, and I'm like, "Oh, so you did think it was funny?" She's like, "No, I'm laughing at how terrible it was."
Right.
And this is why, guys, we need to put the polls out each week of who wins the dad jokes, so we have our awards.
Yes.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Oh, that is a good idea.
So
Yeah.
So people should comment, right, and tell us how you gonna do
Yeah.
that.
And they can do that by going to the Disney with the Ducks Facebook group and joining that group, so you can take part in all these fun conversations. And you can also follow us on Facebook at Disney with the Ducks. Sign up for our Duck Tinder page, and then while you're there, you might even want to be messing around on your phone and go to your podcast catcher and subscribe there as well, so that you make sure you get the download each week, because you don't want to miss this, right? I mean, Come
It's
on.
amazing.
Who doesn't want to hear us talk for an
this is
hour?
gold.
And you can also check us out on YouTube, where we've got some other videos, food reviews, things like that. And we'll be starting our Release the Quacken series about our marathon, half marathon, whatever race we're running, training. That's going to be starting here in the next few weeks. Right now it's mid-June, so at the end of the month we'll have those coming out. And we'll get into training, and hopefully, I think we're all running some race or another, virtual or in person. So
we're all moving through a race. I'm not sure that we're all running, but we're moving.
Fair enough. We're moving forward as a pace. Yep. There you go.
Right.
All right. So is there any other comments? We can do a quick roundtable. See if anybody has anything they want to share or anything.
John, I just want to make sure that you know that with great power comes great responsibility. I mean, I'm just want you to leave you with that.
Quaharini.
You're welcome, John. I was waiting for it. So have a great night, everybody.
Night, guys.
How we going, guys?
Thanks,
All
everybody.
right. Bye, everybody.
My most meh is somebody who doesn't have a good.
Every time you say meh, you sound like a goat.
Exhibit A.
We can cut that. I just couldn't help it. Sorry.
So my most villain is Lightning McQueen. Or sorry,
Hero.
I keep saying villains.
Oh,
I wanted to change it up to Infinity and Beyond.
You should have.
but then you
Wow.
realize that Toy Story sucks.
What?
Golly. Wow.
What the hell is wrong with you?
I don't like Toy Story either.
What?
Oh my
I
God.
don't like Toy Story.
If you,
Really?
did you not? You didn't tear up at all during any of the
Oh,
Toy
I did.
Stories?
Yeah.
Me too. I'm a big fat
No,
blubbering
I-
idiot baby.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't
man.
like Woody.
Yeah. Do you not have a soul?
I don't like Woody.
You're dead inside, aren't you?
He's not a nice person.
Yeah.
In the
No,
first
Buzz-
movie, I'll
Buzz
agree.
is
In the
the real
first
hero.
movie, he did. Yeah. In the first movie,
Buzz
he
is
tried
amazing. I like
to
Buzz.
have Buzz get murdered. So
Yeah.
Show me on the duck where Disney hurt you.
I love Disney. I just don't. No, I don't like Toy Story.
Hey, when I was at camp last week, I said something about about the podcast, and I don't know what it was. Like I was packing shirts or something. My wife's like, "Don't talk about the podcast, Gene. Your kids are embarrassed enough."
Man.
See, my kid
That's-
thinks that all of you are really awesome and cool, and your podcast is amazing. But Jeff and I are dumb and weird and embarrassing, and our podcast sucks. So
Oh man. All right.
We all know who the leader is here.
oh yeah.
You know that interaction. That was funny. Anyway,
yeah.
all I can think about is cupcakes right now. Okay, that's what that's all that I can think about.
Extra
Thanks a lot,
frosting.
Carly. That's all I can think about is cupcakes.
I'm sorry.
I don't have a cupcake
I
in the
told
house.
you that they taste awful.
No, I don't believe you.
I don't
saw
believe it
pictures.
either.
I don't know.
Have you ever ran into a cupcake that tastes awful? They all taste
No.
delicious.
I'm not a huge fan of cupcakes, honestly. Cake and it's all right.
You're a communist.
What's really funny is I hate frosting. Like I would naked cakes are my thing. Frosted cakes are gross. Yep.
I
Completely
don't even
off
know how
topic.
to respond to that because
I mean,
it's
it's just-
so far out of what the normal person would think that I mean you're probably that's the opinion of 0.1% of the population maybe
Well,
at
Dean
most.
says that I hate everything that other people love. So
It's true.
Sweet potato fries, frosting. Yeah.
ugh,
Oh.
Is it
That's the only
frosting or
good thing
icing?
about a cake.
frosting.
Yeah. Yeah. The bread part is just like the delivery device for the frosting. It serves no purpose other
Make
than
it
as a
in-
carrier.
Cut
Yeah.
it in half and make it into a sandwich, and then that's your bread. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be so a frosting sandwich. I'm getting really hungry, guys.
Communist. You're a communist.
The hammer and sickle.
I'm glad that you drew the picture.
All right. Well, speaking of
I
communism,
doodle the whole time we're doing this. So yeah. Helps me think.
The only way he can stay awake.
all right. Moving on to the communists.